We started our week with a long drive from Torquay all the way up to Troon in Scotland. After a couple of stops at Starbucks, we arrived at our digs for the week, which was a caravan site probably half an hour south of the golf course. A quick shower and change, we were on the road and off to the Callaway launch party at Dundonald Links Golf Club. So this party was for the fact that Callaway are now launching a new wedge. We were introduced to some of the Callaway staff players. And then for some organised chaos. I still have absolutely no idea what was going on. It was soon apparent that nobody actually had a clue what was going on, but that didn't stop the fun. And here's the proof.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
I think they were trying to get it into that square, but again, I'm not entirely sure. Alex Noren does move quite well for someone in their mid-40s.
Wait, sorry, have you got the third one in? That's it, you win round 1.
Not going to lie, absolutely no idea what was going on. Here's a quick look at the new wedges. I was more interested in the open balls, which looked pretty cool. Fair play to Alex Noren, who stayed behind with all of us and gave out some chipping advice, and so did legendary coach Pete Cowan, who was very helpful and very friendly. Then we were back inside the clubhouse for some free food. The eco roof is pretty cool too. The clubhouse is pretty special, and the golf course is now on my bucket list of places I want to play. Had dinner with a couple of famous YouTubers, this one you may recognise. Finally, the night was ended in a local nightclub in Troon. Tuesday wasn't a particularly early start, but we did arrive at the golf course to some rain, which was a little bit disappointing. Parked up in the park and ride, paid £20 and then jumped on the local bus, which was free. Took the 20-minute ride to the golf course and then walked across, I think it must be the other golf course, which took probably 15 or so minutes before we arrived at the entrance. But we weren't going in there, we were going up to the tour vans to get rid of all our recording stuff. Then it was time for breakfast while we waited for Mizuno to be ready for us to film. Dan had the egg, bacon and sausage toasty, and I had the vegetarian option. I think one of us needed this particular bit of food to soak up some of the excess alcohol he consumed the night before. Off to do some work, we went to the Mizuno tour truck. Dan was doing a couple of videos for Foremost, and I was basically holding the camera.
Yeah.
We had a tour around the facilities. Dan was straight into a particular cupboard which took his fancy, and it was basically called the Graveyard, and it was all the old Mizuno clubs that were actually discontinued, but they were still available. My favourite area is the shaft area, so I was literally like a kid in a candy shop. Here's some impressive looking equipment. Half of it, I've got no idea what it did. It was really clinical and well organised. Dan set the cameras up. Unfortunately, because of embargo, I can't actually show you any of the new irons. However, I can show you some of the finishes that Mizuno do now to their irons, which is available if you do go and get custom fitted. However, this option is not cheap. That was the official work complete for the week. A quick coffee break was needed to keep those caffeine levels up. Next stop was to get some merch. Unfortunately, the recording was interrupted by a rather large gentleman telling me not to actually record in the shop. Lunch was disappointing, overcooked, dry fish and chips, and then we wandered out to watch some golf. And we found Justin Rose on the 16th, teeing off. And what a week he had after coming through qualifying to finish tied second, which was an unbelievable achievement. As we continued aimlessly walking, we found Matt Fitzpatrick using the cross-handed grip. Walked a couple of shots with him and watched him chip around the green. We also waved at legendary caddy, and I would call him my friend, Billy Foster. I'm pretty sure he didn't have a clue who we were. And then we found Bryson playing on his own with a quad and a lot of people walking. So we watched him sort of play numerous shots around the green, did a bit of putting, even had a bunker shot. We ended up walking 9 holes with Bryson, which was a great experience. We then went to the putting green and watched a few of the players practicing. We finished off the day with a quick visit to the driving range and a view from a distance of 2 beautiful things, the Open Championship and Pete Finch. Dan had a MasterCard, so we had a quick beer or two, and then obviously we had to stop at the toilets before jumping on the bus and heading back to the caravan. A late dinner and a couple more pints for Dan. We headed back to the caravan to go sleep about 10:30. I'm on the J2O. Dan's on the lager. Dan, being the professional he is, did make a couple of short videos. Wednesday was an early start and we were on the road at 6:10. The roads were getting noticeably busier as the week progressed. We queued to get in. Tickets and QR codes checked, and then me, Dan and Max ran across and headed towards the first tee with one thing in mind, along with several others, to try and watch Tiger Woods tee off from the first at TROON. His tee time unfortunately came and went, and he didn't show up. He'd already actually gone onto the golf course at 7 o'clock and not as advertised. So with no Tiger at 8:05, we and several others left the grandstand on the first and headed back across the golf course. Max and Dan both went for meetings. I grabbed a coffee, avoided the cakes, and spilt most of the coffee as I made my way out to the postage stamp. So I positioned myself behind the line and watched some of the world's best players attempt to hit the green on the 120-yard par 3. I didn't stay long. I'd sort of forgiven Tiger at this stage, headed out to the 14th tee to take a position to hopefully catch a glimpse of the GOAT. And after the shot he hit, I don't actually know why I bothered. So I walked 2 or 3 holes back with Tiger, watched him do a little bit of practice, and there were some better shots, thankfully. I met Dan for lunch, which I paid for. Even managed to find something slightly healthy. Dan had another meeting, so I found an oversized cushion and sat down and watched some golf on the big screen. Then headed back out on the golf course and spotted this hero. He keeps the seagulls away, apparently. Watched some players from a distance, had a little wander around the golf course. Managed to get a glimpse of this legend as well, Ernie Els, and also Big Tone, who's one of my favourite golfers at the moment. Left the golf course around about 7 o'clock. Went to grab some food, fish and chips from Prestwick, and this was miles better than the offering that we had at the golf course. Back to the caravan to eat it. Dan's dad was a fisherman with a couple of boats, so Dan thinks he's a bit of an
solid
expert,
day's
and he said
golf,
it was good, so I know it was
I think
good.
it's always important to have a fish supper when in Scotland. Look at that. I asked for cod. They didn't do cod, but they did something even better than cod. Had it. Nothing but the best for us, Ernst.
No.
Nothing but the best.
We live the high life.
Absolutely, we do.
So this was the official first day of the Open Championship. We were up at the crack of dawn because we wanted to get out there nice and early to watch the players play the 8th hole. There was lots of police everywhere and stewards directing the traffic, even at this time of the morning. Typical Scottish weather, and it was raining all the way to the golf course. But that didn't dampen the excitement. And here is one excited young man. We arrived a good hour before the players, but even then, the seats were starting to fill up. We positioned ourselves halfway down the hole. Shortly afterwards, the first groups arrived and were faced with the tricky 120-yard par 3, known iconically as the postage stamp. We were lucky enough to be greeted with some brilliant shots and some birdie putts, which were converted. And then Justin Rose arrived. Some found the hole harder than others. Anything landing right at the hole unfortunately found its way down the slope and into the bunker. I managed 3 hours without a toilet break. We then walked back and met up with Soph.
Phil, like Phil? Like Phil?
I'm not sure if she even knew who Phil was. So time for lunch, and we went to the Grab and Go, where we tried to find a healthy option. This is a must if you ever go to the Open, and was my highlight. There's me eating a sandwich.
So,
All good.
We found Bryson, who nearly hit us from one of the tee shots. Took a long walk out to the 12th, which turned out to be probably one of the best watching spots during the tournament. It started raining again, surprise, surprise, and then we met up with Dan and Nick Horrocks for a couple of drinks and a few stories. Dan finished being important and decided to come and watch some golf with us, so we had a little walk out, grabbed an ice cream on the way.
Can I just get a plain cone, please?
Back to the 12th, where we continued to watch some golf. After a couple of hours in the rain, we decided to walk back and caught up with a few other golfers, ones that Dan particularly wanted to see. There's Jordan Spieth hitting an approach shot into, I think, was the 12th hole. Dan managed to find another bar. We gradually made our way towards the 17th and 18th hole. A few wayward shots meant we had to wait around for players to get the ball back into play. And at 9 PM, we'd just about had enough of watching the golf and jumped back on the bus to head back towards the car. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my video diary of the Open Championship. Remember to hit that subscribe button, like this video and comment below. Thanks for watching.